Psalm 46, God our refuge and strength. Psalm 46 is a psalm of confidence that proclaims God as a secure refuge and ever-present help in the midst of chaos, danger, and instability. Attributed to the sons of Korah, it expresses unwavering trust in God's protection and sovereign rule over both nature and nations. Its central message is simple yet profound. Because God is present with His people, they need not live in fear, even when the world around them is shaken. The psalm opens with a bold declaration of divine refuge and strength. God is presented not merely as one who provides safety, but as safety itself for His people. This assurance does not promise the absence of trouble, rather, it promises divine presence within it. Even if the most stable features of creation collapse and the forces of nature become violent and uncontrollable, the people of God are called to remain unafraid. These dramatic images of upheaval represent more than natural disasters, they also symbolize political instability, social collapse, and every form of human insecurity. The underlying conviction is that God's stability surpasses all earthly instability. The focus then shifts to a more peaceful image, a river whose streams bring joy to the city of God. This contrasts sharply with the roaring waters of chaos described earlier. The city is traditionally understood as Jerusalem, the dwelling place of God among His people, though it is often also interpreted as representing God's broader people and kingdom. The river symbolizes life, peace, and sustaining divine presence, especially since the historical city itself lacked a major river. In this way, the imagery points to God as the source of spiritual vitality and security. The central affirmation follows: God is present within His city, ensuring that it will not be shaken. Security is not rooted in geography or human strength but in divine presence. This section also introduces a recurring refrain, the declaration that the Lord of hosts is with His people. This title emphasizes God's supreme authority over all heavenly and earthly powers. It reinforces the idea that no political force or military power exists outside divine sovereignty. The repeated refrain serves as a stabilizing anchor within the psalm, reminding the reader that God's presence guarantees protection and endurance. The psalm then expands outward to a global perspective, inviting reflection on God's mighty works throughout history. God is portrayed as the one who brings an end to warfare and dismantles instruments of violence. This vision of peace extends beyond immediate historical events and is often understood as pointing toward a future fulfillment in which divine justice establishes lasting peace. The imagery suggests that ultimate peace is not achieved through human effort alone but through divine intervention that transforms the order of the world. At the heart of the psalm stands the famous command, "Be still, and know that I am God." This verse serves as its theological center. The call to be still conveys more than quietness, it expresses the cessation of striving, resistance, and anxious self-reliance. It is a summons to acknowledge divine sovereignty and relinquish the illusion of control. This message is directed both to fearful individuals and to nations in rebellion, emphasizing that God's authority is universal. The accompanying declaration that God will be exalted among the nations reinforces the certainty of His ultimate victory and recognition throughout the earth. The psalm concludes by returning to its opening assurance, the Lord of hosts is with His people, and the God of Jacob is their refuge. This closing refrain brings the composition full circle, reinforcing both divine power and covenant faithfulness. The reference to Jacob highlights God's enduring commitment despite human weakness and imperfection, emphasizing that His protection rests on His faithful character rather than human merit. Across its movement, several key themes emerge. God is portrayed as the ultimate refuge, offering security that transcends unstable circumstances. His presence is the source of stability in both personal and global turmoil. The psalm affirms that God rules over nature, nations, and history itself, leaving nothing outside His authority. It also presents fear as something overcome not by human strength but by trust in divine sovereignty. Finally, it anticipates a future in which God's rule is universally acknowledged and peace is fully established. The psalm is often associated with Jesus Christ, understood as the ultimate expression of divine presence and peace, and as the one through whom God's kingdom is established. The themes of refuge, peace, and divine sovereignty are seen as fulfilled in his reign. Historically, the psalm has also held deep significance in moments of crisis and reform. It inspired one of the most well-known hymns of the Reformation era, reflecting its enduring message of trust in God amid upheaval. Practically, the psalm is frequently used to encourage trust in times of anxiety, instability, persecution, and personal hardship. It calls for confidence in God rather than circumstances, remembrance of His presence in suffering, and surrender of anxious striving. Its enduring message is that even when the world is shaken, God remains unshakable, present, and sovereign over all.
Psalm 46, to the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah, a song for Alamoth. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. Selah. There is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in the fire. Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah.